Hat, sunglasses, Pepsi, notes, sources, thick skin, check. You already know. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Blue today, everybody. This is a college football channel. So if you like college football, hit the like and subscribe button. It's that simple. Also, send gear to represent your team and be a part of my background forever. All you have to do is send it to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. I'll be honest with you guys. I have people send me stuff all the time. I have different sources everywhere on Twitter, in my messenger. They're sending me messages all the time. I'll look it up on the internet. Just a lot of people coming at me with a lot of information. And do you know what I do? I make videos. Whether it actually happens or not, I'm not preaching this as actual, like, this is going to happen most of the time, but sometimes I am because that's what I'm hearing. But I'm telling you, if I think it's interesting, I'm going to make a video about it. So shout out for Dylan for sending me the links to this information, because this looks like solid information. So we all know that Auburn fired Brian Harsin, and they should have. That dude was never a good fit. Why they even hired him, I have no idea. Auburn in the offseason, they were looking for reasons to see if they could fire him with cause. That way they wouldn't owe him some money. When a university is doing that, yeah, that's a bad sign for the head coach. So they were looking for ways to fire him. And of course, he got off to a terrible start again. He finally got fired. So they did the right thing. Auburn did the right thing, but they never should have hired him in the first place. So they're just correcting a mistake that they made earlier. So now what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing from all over the place is that Auburn will hire Lane Kiffin. Now, I'm seeing it all over Auburn News where calls have been made to Lane Kiffin, like actual calls have been made. He's been contacted, talked about, contracts talked about, numbers talked about. So the Auburn social media and the Auburn news boards are talking about that. A lot of outlets are talking about this. And then I've seen some Twitter outlets today confirming this, saying that yes, he will be hired as the next head coach at Auburn, and it will be announced after the Egg Bowl. Man, that's a rough way to announce it, you know, especially if you beat Mississippi State. Hey, 10-win season, because if Ole Miss wins out, they have a 10-win season. Just beat our rival. Might have a chance at the New Year's Six Bowl, but guys, I'm out of here. I'm headed to Auburn. So that's but I mean, Lane Kiffin, this is how he does things, you know. He delivers messages in a rough way. I mean, look at Tennessee. He kind of left like a thief in the night. FAU, not much notice with them. So just whenever you hire Lane Kiffin, expect if there's a bigger opportunity, he's going to leave you and he's not going to give you much warning. So I'll be your warning, Ole Miss fans. He is going to leave you at the end of the year, and he's going to be the new head coach at Auburn. So let's take a look at Lane Kiffin's resume. It's interesting. He has an interesting resume. So this whole Lane Kiffin thing started all the way back in 2009. Became the head coach at Tennessee. That was kind of weird that Tennessee hired him kind of out of the blue. He didn't really have any head coaching experience at any level. But hey, it's worked out for Lane Kiffin, so I bet he's glad they tried him out. But anyways, 2009, he went 7-6, and Lane Kiffin bolted Tennessee, and it's not like he had a 10-win season, but still, like a thief in the night, he did bolt Tennessee for USC. He was at USC for 4 years. He had some success, but then kind of fell off. Overall, 28-15 with an 8-5, 10-2, 7-6, and then 3-2. Then he was fired. Then he went into the Nick Saban coach's rehab facility, where he studied and learned under the great Nick Saban. Came back out of the rehab center, caught a job as the head coach at FAU. 3 years at FAU from 2017 to 2019. Overall, 27-13. That's a decent record with an 11-3 season, 5-7, and another 11-3 season. So a lot of success over there. Ole Miss was watching, and Ole Miss hired him. And in the 3 years he's been at Ole Miss, 23-10. Listen, a lot of people think that Ole Miss has been this successful for a very long time. No, it was really Hugh Freeze and now Lane Kiffin that have given Ole Miss the massive success that they've had recently. Overall, Ole Miss is not historically a great football program. So these numbers are really, really good for Ole Miss, including a so-so first season, 5-5, but then a 10-win season last year at 10-3. Another chance at a 10-win season this year. They're 8-2 with games at Arkansas and then Mississippi State at home remaining. So they could very well finish 10-2, ranked in the top 10, probably get to a New Year's Six Bowl. So that's another great year for Ole Ole Miss. I do definitely expect them to beat Mississippi State in the rivalry game. That's a home game. Mississippi State, a good team, but not a great team. But that road trip to Arkansas, that could be tricky. Just ask LSU, who just escaped Arkansas with a 3-point victory, and they did not look good in that game. Final score was 13-10. So Ole Miss better show up with their A game to beat Arkansas, because that's a tough place to win at. And I think this is a great hire for Auburn, and I think this is a great move by Lane Kiffin, because I'm sorry, Ole Miss fans, but Auburn, especially money-wise, is a step above Ole Miss. Auburn will pay him more money. Auburn does have more winning success, more history, stuff like that than Ole Miss. I'm not saying Ole Miss is a bad program. I think they're a good program, but Auburn is clearly a step above Ole Miss. So he will take that step up to Auburn. It's just going to happen. It's been confirmed, guys. So who can Ole Miss bring in as their new head coach? I know. We're talking about new head coach. It's not even the end of the year. It hasn't been announced, but I'm going to talk about it because I am that confident that it's going to happen. So who should Ole Miss go after? Well, there's that old name, Hugh Freeze. Let me be clear about this. West Virginia should want Hugh Freeze. If we don't try to get Hugh Freeze, then I'm going to go out of my mind. So you're probably going to see Golden Blue to go out of his mind, because they're probably not going to pursue Hugh Freeze. I'm saying at least pursue him. If he turns you down, so be it. But we have to at least pursue him. This guy has had a lot of success, and he has proven himself at the Power 5 level. Would Ole Miss be willing to give Hugh Freeze a second chance? Probably not, but it's worth talking about, all right? It is worth talking about. Hugh Freeze does have a decent resume. His 1 year at Arkansas State, he went 10-3. Then Ole Miss hired him. In 5 years, he went 39-25, including 7-6, 8-5, 9-4, 10-3, and then 5-7. Then he went over to Liberty, and he's had tremendous success over there at Liberty. In 4 years, 34-13, including 8-5, 10-1, 8-5, 8-2. Nobody even knew that Liberty had a football program until Hugh Freeze showed up, and now he has them at heights that they've never seen before. And yes, he just signed a contract extension, but this is Liberty money we're talking about. They can be bought out. That contract can be bought out. It's not a ridiculous amount of money. It's a good amount of money for a Group of 5 school, but compared to a Power 5 salary, it is very doable as far as a buyout. So I think Ole Miss should at least consider Hugh Freeze. I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to give him a second chance because of all of the shenanigans that he pulled the last time he was at Ole Miss. 80% of that is now covered under the NIL now, by the way. Just wanted you to know that. But still, you can't get call girls. You have to stop that. And he has stopped that. He's kept his nose clean while he's been at Liberty. So Ole Miss should give him another chance, but they're probably not gonna. So what about Tom Herman? I'm high on Tom Herman. He was fired for the wrong reasons at Texas. He was actually winning over at Texas, including a 10-win season, then 8-5, then 7-3 in a COVID year. One game, one play away from getting back to the Big 12, so he wasn't fired because of lack of success or being mean to the players, didn't get along with the fans and the players. He butted heads with the boosters. Ole Miss does have boosters, but nothing like Texas boosters. Texas boosters, they're a whole different animal. So I think Ole Miss should at least consider Tom Herman. He knows how to recruit in the Southeast. I don't know how much of his buyout is still remaining, so you do have to consider that. Because if you hire Tom Herman, then you'd have to pay the rest of his buyout. But I'm telling you, I think Tom Herman would bring success to Ole Miss. And I think he would probably want to stay longer than Lane Kiffin, even if it's by a few years. He would want to stay longer than Lane Kiffin. He's not Lane Kiffin. Next name is Lance Leopold. If anybody can convince Lance Leopold to come from Kansas to their place, I think it could be Ole Miss. Ole Miss has the money to get him out of there. They have the facilities, and it's close enough to the Midwest and the Southwest to where this is very doable to bring in Lance Leopold. And I love the offense that Lance Leopold has. I think it would have tremendous success in the SEC. Let me explain this offense real quick. Basically, it's a combination between a triple option, which means the defenses have to cover all their gaps. On top of that, it's a spread offense, an RPO offense, so you have to keep your eyes on the quarterback because he could pull the ball and take off. And yes, they pass the ball as well because it's a spread offense. That offense is very, very difficult to defend. And Lance Leopold will be able to recruit at a much higher level at Ole Miss. So that offense would become even more dangerous at Ole Miss. Another name to consider if you're an Ole Miss fan, Matt Rule. You have to look at Matt Rule. This guy is a program builder. There is a risk that he would bolt if a higher name would come a calling. But if you want to continue to compete at an elite level, you might want to consider hiring Matt Rule. Other than that, I'll leave the rest of the list up to you guys. But that's my list for Ole Miss because it is a fact. Lane Kiffin will be leaving Ole Miss at the end of the year to become the new head coach at Auburn. So y'all let me know in the comment section. What do y'all think about Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss for Auburn? And who do you think Ole Miss should get to replace Lane Kiffin as the head coach of Ole Miss? That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.